A lot of people are surprised at what the biggest challenge to being able to retire early. And it's not amassing a huge fortune. That's not easy, but if you're watching videos like this, you've probably made a series of really good decisions and you're in a pretty good place financially. The biggest challenge is the mental challenge. It's getting ready to retire mentally and getting into that mindset and facing that transition, which can be scary. Like anything in life, when we're doing something for the first time, it can be scary, right? And we, at some point, we are all going to transition into retirement, hopefully. So whether you do that at 45 or 50 or 60 or even 70, it's a challenge that's in front of us. So why not face that challenge sooner? And I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years. I've helped hundreds of families transition into retirement, and with very, very rare exception, people tell me, I wish I had transitioned earlier. I thought I loved my job. I thought I enjoyed the challenge of the work and the purpose that it gave me, and it did, but they were ready for this next chapter of their life. But candidly, they were a little concerned about doing the transition. So in today's video, hopefully I'm going to save you years of time and help you think about your transition. So let me take a sip of my coffee here first. It's Turkish coffee, by the way, so it'll give me an extra boost for this video. Okay, so I have two main recommendations that are going to help you, and then some tangential advice that I'm going to share with you after the two big pieces. And the two big pieces of advice is, first, read the book called Strength to Strength. And it's going to talk to you about how to transition from where you're at now, from your work environment now, from the challenge that you're enjoying, and how as we get older, we can and should transition into a different challenge, into a different mindset that can help us. And the second one, let's take a quick walk here. And I'll show you where I'm at. It's a really quaint little village. I'm about 7,000 miles from my home. It's a little windy, which is why I'm in that corner there. The second book I want you to read is a book called Die with Zero. And the reason Die with Zero is a powerful book is it talks to you about how to use your money while you're still alive, and to get the most joy and the most utility out of the time and the money that you have, while it can give you the most benefit to you. Too many of us have an estate plan that says, when I pass away, then this is what I want to have happen with my assets. But the challenge is, by definition, what we're doing is we're saving up a lot of money that is probably going to go unused. And you have a much higher utility for your money early on. So again, the book is called Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. And the other book that I mentioned earlier, Strength to Strength, just talks about overcoming that challenge of, what are you going to do when you retire? How are you going to spend that time? What's your new purpose going to be? So those are the two fundamentals. And I'm going to share some tangentials, but I want to encourage you, if you'd like to read these books, if you think it would be fun to have a book club, I'm toying with the idea. I'm not sure we're going to do this, but just put in the comments book club if you're interested, and maybe we could set up a group call with a bunch of us that read one book and then have a discussion on it. And then a month later, have a book club discussion. It could be fun on the other books. So just put in a comment, book club. Okay, let's keep going. So there's a couple of things that you really need to think through in order to get ready for retiring. And one of those things is, what's your new purpose going to be? How are you going to spend your time in retirement? Right now, our purpose is kind of given to us. For a lot of us, we've been working the same job for over a decade. We're good at it. We know our team really well. And that gives us purpose. But in retirement, it's going to be different. And, you know, hopefully it's an even stronger purpose. So the first one is thinking through your purpose. I really think this book, Strength to Strength, is going to help you think through that super important question. Okay, the next one is relationships. What are you going to do to build new relationships? Because, you know, at work, we have kind of relationships built in for us. So it can be a little scary. It can be new to us to think about where are we going to get our friends from? How are we going to replace the friends at work? And, you know, the reality is a lot of us think that we're going to stay friends with the people that we work with. And hopefully we do. But, you know, it's going to be different when you're no longer working at the same company as your friends, right? You have a common language, you have a common purpose, you have common competitors, a common enemy, if you will, and that breeds friendships, right? You have all of these things familiar with you and your colleagues. That's going to be different once you retire. So thinking through, how are you going to make new friends? What are the relationships that are important to you? Those are really important things to think about. Now, I don't have a book recommendation for this, but just think through, you know, where you choose to live can be helpful for that. I live in a ski resort town in Utah. And, you know, the nice thing is almost all of my neighbors, every single one of them, there's a couple of exceptions, but very, very few. Like, you know, of my 100 friends in this city, and I'm very lucky, I have a lot of friends, only 1 or 2 were born in this city. So where you live can make it easier or harder. Where I grew up outside of Cleveland, Ohio, people had been there for generations, and it was a little harder for new people to break in. So where you decide to live can have an impact on you as well, how easily or how difficult it might be to make friends. So relationships is really important. I want you to think about that. And then I also want you to think about gratitude, having a heart of gratitude, right? So you have a new purpose, you have new friends, and you have a heart of gratitude, and you're appreciative of the fact that you can retire. You know, in many, many parts of the world, the retirement plan is spelled with 4 letters, KIDS, right? There are no IRAs, there are no 401ks, there are KIDSs. And so in America, we're lucky that many, many of us have an opportunity to become financially independent, to have retirement. So really, to the extent you can, try to avoid comparisons, try to avoid envy. Maybe you have friends that have a second home in La Jolla, California, or something wonderful like that, Santa Barbara. Avoid comparisons. You know, you may not own a second home, but you don't have all the headaches associated with the second home. So that can be a great thing. So I encourage you to take the leap. You know, if you're 60 years old, at 60 years old, most of us have less than 1,000 weeks remaining, and I want you to make the most of the youth of your senior years. They say that a young man knows the rules and an older man knows the exceptions. And this is a case where wisdom comes with age, and you know the exceptions. You know, you can often make the numbers, the financial side of things work, but sometimes it can be difficult mentally to be prepared for retirement. So hopefully this video helped you with that. And if you don't believe me on the money side of things, if you feel like you're further away than you think, know that that is normal. And I have a video that I want you to watch here that talks about the 3 signs that you are way ahead of average, way above average financially. So watch that video here, and thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.